Yeah, so congratulations to each and every one of you. We are finally through with, after this, we'll be finally through with the web development module. Yeah, and through the weeks, most of you have been requesting for this particular lesson. I told you step by step, step by step. No need to rush. All things come to those who wait. Yeah. So here we are finally. Here we are finally on our final session where we get to see how do you actually deploy your built websites. I'm sure some of you have an idea how that one is done, but we are going to go through it together. Okay. So this particular week, just before we go to this week, maybe just a run through of last week's assignments. Let me just open that. Last week's assignments. That was week 7. Yeah, so if you noted, your assignment instruction changed because of the issue we have been experiencing. Yeah, so these are your new instructions. Navigate to that, fork the repository. So most of you do not know how to fork. To fork a repository, you use this button. Use this button to fork a repository. Maybe give your repository a name. It is true. Stop laughing. Some of you are just cloning the main repository, assignment repository, and then getting an error when trying to push your changes. Since this repository does not belong to you, you cannot push your changes here. So you need to create a fork. You need to create a fork. Once you're done, you will use that newly created repository to push your changes. Yeah, so those are the new instructions. Okay, so back to the assignment. So last week we dived into CSS3, majorly focused on transitions and animations, and combining those transitions and animations with JavaScript. Yeah, this part 2, I think we went through it when we were doing JavaScript, but I hope you did not ignore it during your assignment. Yeah, so your deliverables, 3 files, a HTML file, a style file, and a script file. So structured content on the HTML file, transitions and keyframes on your styling, functional logic on your scripts, and your animation triggers. So those were your deliverables for assignment for week 7. So I did something here very, 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 very basic. Once again, do not think so much on your assignments. Yeah, do not think so much on your assignments. They are pretty simple. They are pretty straightforward. They are based on what we go through in class. So, yeah, so this is what I had. So CSS3 transitions and animations. As you can see, we have a box that is pulsating here while changing color. You have a button. If you hover over it, you have those different transitions. You have your JavaScript function, at least one, and then a CSS plus JavaScript. CSS and JavaScript. As simple as that. Don't think so much on those assignments. They can be as simple or as hard as you make them out to be. It can be as simple as or as hard as you make them out to be. So Yeah, so you remember keyframes where you configure animations during different breakpoints. You configure animations during different breakpoints. So like this one is the color change and the pulse for the box. You have the one that is sliding here, so on and so forth. Yeah, so that was week 7. That was week 7. And on to this week's particular lesson. Yeah, so as I was saying earlier, congratulations for coming this far. Congratulations. You should give yourselves a round of applause. You should give yourself a round of applause. Yeah, it is. I know it is not easy. Some of your colleagues are not here with you. Some dropped off, reasons best known to them, but you are here. Congratulations, congratulations. And it is for a worthy cause. It is for a worthy cause. I hope you have learned something over the 8 weeks that we've been together. Yeah, you can call yourself a front end, a junior front end developer. Yes, you can. Yes, you can call yourself a junior or aspiring front end developer with the knowledge that you have. But as I always say, please keep on practicing. Practice as much as possible. You now have the fundamentals of front end web design and development. Yeah. Leverage those skills and knowledge and expand them. Expand them, expand them. You have a clear understanding of how to structure HTML elements, how to use styling, how to incorporate interactivity, how to do transitions and animations. You have that knowledge now. You are free now to venture into libraries and frameworks such as Bootstrap, Tailwind, React for your front end, and so on and so forth. Yeah, having this knowledge will be a better place to understand those libraries and frameworks. Okay. Yeah, so for this particular week, we'll be looking at what are we looking at? What are we looking at? Let me confirm here. Final project and deployment. Final project and deployment. So the assignment for this week, we will be required to do a multi-page website. So far, we've only been doing single pages. We've only been doing single pages, but for week 8, you will be required to do a multi-page website, at least 4 pages or 5. Okay. And finally, you'll also be required to host that website. 3 to 5 pages. 3 to 5 pages. So feel free to do whatever project that you feel like doing, but not a portfolio. A portfolio is a one pager. A portfolio is a one pager. Do something else. Do something else. Do something else that will take up multiple pages. Do something else that you already did a portfolio for your hackathon. So I'll be expecting to see different websites. So feel free to do whichever you please, but follow the instructions as they are laid out. Follow the instructions as they are laid out. So now that you'll be building a multi-page website, you need to know and understand, one, the purpose of your website. Why are you building this website? Why are you building this website? Or who is it for? Yes, it is for your assignment, but look at the bigger picture. Why are you building that website? and who is it intended for? Okay. Remember, this will be part of your portfolio. Okay. This will be part of your portfolio. You can showcase this as part of your knowledge and skills in web development. Okay, so have that in mind when you are doing this last assignment. Okay, so one, identify your audience. Identify your audience. Who are you building a website for? Is it a business, an e-commerce site, or so on and so or what are you actually doing it for? Define your goals and objectives. Define your goals and objectives. And finally, gather the requirements. What are the must-have pages? Of course, you need a landing page. That is the home page. You will need a landing page. Think about how it will look like. What information are you going to display on the landing page? So landing pages basically give a summary of the whole website. They basically give a summary of the whole website. It is like an introduction of your website. So you give a summary of the whole website, just summarize portions, maybe a call to action, who you are, or what the website is for. Maybe you can have a summary of your team or your services, and so on and so forth. Number 2 is your website structure and sitemap. Website structure and your sitemap. So you will list your core pages. You will list your core pages. You will list your core pages. Just use this. We will list your core pages. Identify your main pages, home. Some of the core pages will have the landing page, the about page, your services page, maybe products page if you're doing something with products, and contact us. So those are the core pages that you would find in a typical website. At least those 4: home, about, services, and contact. The others are just add-ons based on what your website is for, like the products page. If you are doing an e-commerce site, then you definitely have a products page. Or if your website is meant to sell or list your products, then you would have a products page. Consider if you would have sub pages. If you would have sub pages. Remember, if you are doing a very large website, you cannot fit everything in one page. You cannot fit everything in one page. So maybe you have a large team section and you want to split that in the about pages. Then you can have a drop down on the about menu and have a separate page for team. And have a separate page for team where you can list your team members. Where you can list your team members. Next after that will be your wireframe and layout design. I know we haven't touched base on this, majorly on design, but you can simply draw out a sketch of how you would want your website to look like. The structure, how would you want it to look like? Definitely you will have a navigation bar. Are you doing a top navigation? Are you doing a sidebar navigation? Okay, you would definitely have a main section or a header section, maybe with an image or a header image. You definitely have different sections, maybe with your call to action, a summary of what you're doing, and so on and so forth. So those are the steps for wireframing. You sketch your pages, you define key sections. So there are various wireframing tools. Unfortunately, we do not cover that in this scope, but wireframing is simply like drawing out a sketch. Just use your pen and paper, draw out a sketch. You can always find inspiration on the internet on how typical websites look like, some of the structure of typical websites. And you've also interacted with some of these websites. Who here has not interacted with an e-commerce site or a blogging site? So you definitely know how some of these websites look like, and you can get inspiration from them. Maybe just copy the layout. Copy the layout. Don't copy the don't copy the entire website. Don't copy the entire website. Remember copyright infringement. That one is a big issue. Remember that copyright infringement. It is a big issue. So yeah, you can get inspiration from a website, but do not copy it. Do not copy it word for word. Or yeah. So yeah, consider those things. So some key elements that you might consider in your wireframes are things like the header. Maybe let me just open the PLP website. We can use that as our example. Yes. Yeah. So you have your header, and header is this section, the one that is currently on focus on the screen. That is, the whole of that is the header. The whole of that is the header. So you have your call to action. This is called a call to action. This is called a call to action. So it's majorly a summarized version of what your website is all about. At the top, we have a navigation bar. At the top, we have a navigation bar with your links. As you can see, this one has so much content. That is why we have sub-menus, okay? Next would be your main section. Your main section. So this will be, contain other sections, subsections within it. So here, like here, we have about us. We have why Powerland project. You have another call to action. This one is encouraging people to apply. You have your section for statistics. You have another section explaining the 1 million devs. You have your testimonials and success stories. So simply you're showcasing what people think about your website or your product that is being, or your solution that you are advertising with your website. You have a section for your partners. And finally, the footer. This is where you have your extra links. You have your contact information, social media information, privacy policy, terms and conditions, and things like those. So you can gain some inspiration by visiting some of these websites, just to get to see how are they structured, how are they designed, so that you can also do the same for your website. So after your wireframe, after deciding on how your site will be structured, then comes the visual design. Now, this is where most of us really fumble, if I can use that word. And you fumble because of one major thing. Your color scheme. Your color scheme, okay? Yeah, so this was very, very evident, especially in your portfolio projects. Some of you had very, very good websites, but what failed you is the color scheme. What failed you is the color scheme. So you need to be very, very careful when choosing your colors. Do not put colors that are very, very conspicuous. We call them shouting colors. Don't use hot pink. Don't use hot pink, okay? But anyway, you can find other different shades of pink. If you really like pink, you can find other different shades of pink that you can use. Colors that are subtle, colors that complement each other, okay? So consider that. That one is very, very key. You do not want to make a website that is very well structured, but the color scheme really throws people off, such that they can't even concentrate on what you've built. They just see the color and they decide, let me just visit another site. This is not worth my eyesight. Okay, so that one is very, very important. Choosing the correct color scheme. Another thing that you need to consider is typography. And what do I mean by typography? The font. The type of font can really change the outlook of your web page. The type of font can really change the outlook of your web page. Do not use regular fonts. Do not use regular fonts. They are very beautiful fonts out there. And also remember, your font needs to be readable. You're not creating a website for yourself. You're creating your website to be used by others. Others will be consuming the information on your website. So it does not need to only look good to you. It needs to look good for others as well. Okay? So choose font that is legible. That is also where some of you failed during your portfolio submissions. You've decided, I want a font that displays some calligraphy, but it is not legible. We can't even read what is being displayed. So choose a font that is legible, a font that someone can read, okay? One that is not too small. It is just the right size. In its default size, it is just the right size, okay? And also remember, if you are doing a font, if you're doing different fonts, do not mix more than 2 or 3, okay? You also do not want to confuse people such that they are thinking, am I still on the same website? Or has this website been hacked? So use fonts that are basically similar to each other if you're doing more than one, but as a rule of thumb, one font should suffice. One font should suffice for your entire website. Okay? You don't want to confuse people. Number 3 is your images. Images. Very high quality images. Use very high quality images. The higher the quality, the better. The higher the quality, the better. But remember, with quality, you'll be sacrificing on load times. You'll be sacrificing on load times. So a word of advice, please make sure you are using optimized images. Optimized images. It is better to use PNG over JPEG. Yes, JPEG will give a better quality, but PNG will be more portable when it comes to the internet. PNG carries a slight capacity than JPEG. When you compare 2 images that are saved using PNG and JPEG, the JPEG will be of a bigger size than the PNG. Okay, so make sure you consider that. You can always convert your images to PNG. We have free image converters on the internet that can help you to do so. But the best to use would be WebP. WebP is configured for use on the internet. WebP. Just like I'm pronouncing it, WebP. So look into that. And also when you're doing your visuals, another thing to consider is consistency. Consistency is key. So just look at this PLP website. Look at this PLP website. If I go to another page This is the color scheme I will find across all the pages. This is the font I will find across all the pages. Okay. And in terms of consistency, I will have the same navigation bar. I will have the same footer across all pages. That is what we are talking about when we mention consistency. Yeah? So consistency is key. Ensure consistent style across all your pages. Consistent styles. And something else, consistent font, like I mentioned before. Do not have different fonts for different pages. Just because you want to showcase for us your skills. No. We know you are good at what you do, but consistency is key. Consistency is key. Especially in your color choices, in your structure and design, and in your typography, that is font. Consistency is key. And this is where another number 5, where most of us will struggle. I don't know why, do not ask me. It is just how it is. Content. Content. We usually struggle with content as developers. I won't lie. I also struggle with content. Yes, you will design something very good, but you don't know what to put in there. Right? You don't know what to put in there. So, yeah, we usually struggle with content for some reason. For some reason, we usually struggle with content. So, yeah, maybe you can get some help from content creators. Yeah, just to fill up your site, I know expressing ourselves using text and images might be difficult as a developer. So you can always seek help. You can always seek help for your content. I won't lie, I also struggle with it. Just coming up with such a sentence for your website, can be a real hefty task. But yeah, I'm sure you will hack it. I'm sure you will hack it. And as you create your content for your website, remember to optimize for search engine optimization, SEO. SEO. We saw SEO in our very, very first lessons. Optimize for search engine optimization, SEO. So use relevant keywords and meta tags so that you can help search engines rank your web page or website properly. Okay, so you have decided what you're going to develop. You have done a design and your wireframes. You have done your visuals. You've selected your font, your colors. You have your content. Next is your technologies and your tools. Yes, these ones will define how you're going to develop, okay? Your technologies and your tools. So far we have been doing, we have been coding manually. We have been doing the actual codes manually so that we are writing our codes right into Visual Studio Codes. But there are other tools that you might consider. Okay, there are other tools and technologies that you might consider. So I've always mentioned the way that learning the fundamentals is very, very important. Okay, because once you know the fundamentals, you'll get to appreciate the tools and technologies that are out there that can help increase your productivity or make your work much easier. Okay, so we have tools like content management systems. These are things like WordPress. I don't know if you've heard of WordPress. WordPress is a very, very popular CMS. WordPress is a very, very popular CMS. So these are tools and technologies that will help you build your websites in a very short amount of time. Okay, we have Wix. I don't know if you've heard of Wix. Wix is another one. Wix is another one. A great way of building websites. A great way of building websites. I don't know if there's another one we used to use back in the day. I don't know if it is still available. Oh, it is still there. Joomla. Yes. So these are some of the content management systems that you might come across. Yeah, so look into them, research more about them, get to learn how to use them. And the good thing about some of these CMSs is you can actually use them locally on your machine. You can use them locally on your machine. So they will provide you with installation instructions. You download and install them on your local machine, and you can use them, practice with them on how to leverage their features. So that is one content management system. That is the most fastest way in which you can build your website. And what we've been doing, static websites, where you write your code manually. Okay. And then we have frameworks. I know this one has been a bone of contention since the beginning. Some of you asked about frameworks. So we have front-end frameworks. You have front-end frameworks that you can leverage. The most popular being React. You have Vue, you have Angular. So you can leverage on those frameworks to create your websites. You can leverage on those frameworks to create your websites. So most popular is React.js. This one is the most popular currently. I'm not sure about the rankings. You have Vue.js. And just as I've been mentioning to you, all these frameworks are built off of what we have been going through. This one is built off React and Vue and Angular. They are built out of JavaScript. They leverage JavaScript as their core. Okay, so JavaScript and HTML and CSS to some extent. So that is why we always advocate for you understanding the fundamentals. So yes, so those are some of the popular frameworks that you might consider when building your websites. Finally, another option. But yes, it is an option, but I wouldn't advocate for it if you want to increase your knowledge, increase your skill and experience. Is yeah, you know what I want to say. Templates. Templates. Yeah, so yeah, I wouldn't advocate for that one. Yeah, going for what other people have built and passing it as your own, not very good. Not very good. Not very good. Yeah, so you can go for templates. They are various websites that offer free and paid templates that you can look at. Just look for one that is pleasing to your eye, one that complements what you actually want to do. And you have different categories. You have different categories. You can do blogs, you can do e-commerce, you can do travel, you can do mobile, you can do cars. Basically, just whatever you want to build, you can always search for them. You in these websites that offer templates. We have Envato. These are some of the popular websites for templates. You have Template Monster. Yes, you have Template Monster, and so on and so forth. Yeah, so those are some of the options that you can use when you're building your websites. You can select these tools and technologies. You can select those tools and technologies. So if you're doing something static and you want to go manual, you have your IDEs such as Visual Studio Code, okay, that you can use to build your website. So you've selected your tools, and finally you begin your development phase. So this is where you write the actual code. This is where you write the actual code. So actual code is written when you're doing manually, like what we've been doing over the past 7 weeks or so. Okay. But when you are using some of these tools and technologies, such as WordPress, Wix, Joomla, then these ones will offer you like a simple drag and drop feature where you can visually create your website. Say, I want this here, you drag it here or there and place it there. If it looks good to you, you commit that, and so on and so forth. So your development phase, you write your HTML. Always start with the structure. You cannot start with your style. Okay. We also did it practically. We started with the structure. Our scenario was like you're building a house. You have to start with the foundation, the walling, before you apply paint and do your finishing. Okay. So you start with your HTML. Then you can put in your painting, your colors with CSS, and finally add some interactivity with JS. And from there, you can take it a step further if you will be going into backend development. You can take it a step further if you'll be going into backend development. Maybe connect to a database, have some form of authentication and authorization, have registration. Okay, so yeah, those are things to consider in the development phase. So after you've developed your website, the next phase would be testing and debugging. Yeah? So with testing and debugging, you're simply ensuring that your website works properly and provides a great user experience. So one thing that I would advise you here, you will be biased. You will be biased because you are the one who created. You will be biased. Yes, yours will always be the best thing out there because you're the one who created it. So find a group of people who will test out your solution for you. Okay? And probably not developers, just ordinary people in other professions that can test out your website for you and give you actual feedback on how the website looks and feels. That is user experience. What they did not like. Do they like the colors? Do they like how you've structured your content? Is your content flowing or not? How is the look and feel? Are the colors correct? Is the user journey clearly defined, such that I do not need to call for help? I can clearly see I need to do this, this, and this in order to use this website or web solution. Okay. So very, very important. You will always be biased. That is the truth. You will always be biased. So have other people test out your website for you. Another thing that to consider in testing and debugging is cross-browser testing. Cross-browser testing. So this one is also very, very important. Very, very important. I don't know how valid it is right now, because with major advancements in technology, I think cross-browser has become an issue of the past. Because right now, most modern browsers will accurately display your website without needing any add-ons or tweaking for that specific website. So back in the day, a few years ago, we actually had to have different libraries so that your website can be viewed and used in different web browsers. So, but with the advent of different tools and technologies, and how browsers have been updated, I think nowadays you create a website, it should just be compatible across major keyword major web browsers. That is Chrome, Firefox, Safari, Edge. Okay, those major browsers. Another thing to consider is mobile responsiveness. Mobile responsiveness. We all know how to do that. You have your developer tools. And these developer tools are available across the web browsers. They are available across the web browsers. So you can test using any web browser for mobile responsiveness. Remember the population that, not even the population, the times that we are in, almost everyone above a certain age owns a mobile phone. A mobile phone, and a smartphone at that can access the internet. So gone are the days where someone used to go to a cyber or internet cafe to access internet services. Somebody can just log in using their mobile phone. So consider that a majority of the traffic to your website will be mobile based. So you have to create a site that is suitable for mobile, that is mobile friendly. So test for mobile responsiveness. And as part of your testing, also do some debugging. Debugging is simply fixing any issues. Make sure your links are working. Make sure images are being displayed, and videos, if you have them. Or if JavaScript code is not running very well, make sure you are fixing such issues. Such issues can really embarrass you. Can really embarrass you. Can you imagine launching a website? You have hyped your work. You have hyped your work. You have launched a website, and you have images not being displayed. Hey. So debug. Make sure you test your website fully. Okay. And finally, after you've done all your testing, now you come to the major bit. making your website or web solution available to the public. Now, everyone, you have to make it available for everyone now. How do you do that? How do you do that? So first things first, you will need to choose a hosting provider. You will need to choose a hosting provider. Okay? That is very, very important. And some of the criteria that you use to choose a hosting provider, number one is reliability. You have to choose a host that you know is reliable, one that offers uptime and a guarantee that your website will always be up for whatever reason. Even if we are experiencing an issue, we assure you that your website will always be up. So most hosting providers provide a guarantee of 99.99% uptime. There's always that 0.01%. Yeah, but most hosting providers give you that guarantee that your website will always be up 99.99% of the time. Okay, so choose a hosting provider that is reliable. But with reliability comes a cost. So that is also another major criteria to consider when it comes to hosting. The cost of hosting, the cost of hosting, the cost of hosting, the cost of hosting. And yeah, the cost of hosting, that is also a consideration. Also, another consideration is support for what languages you've used. Support for what languages you have used in your solution. Okay, this especially comes into play when you have a backend. So does your provider support the backend you are using? Do they support the database you have chosen? Do they support maybe JavaScript for the backend? Do they support Python for the backend? Do they support PHP? If you've selected PHP as your backend language, okay? So those are things to consider, okay? And also in terms of support, what support is the hosting provider giving you in case of an issue? In case of an issue, maybe your site has gone down, you've lost connection to your database. How good is their support? Can you call them and they will respond quickly, or they give a time limit? But also that one has a cost effect to it. If you want dedicated support, you need to pay for it. You need to pay for that one. Yeah. So you've launched your site. If you've launched your site, another thing to consider is promotion. Some marketing. Promote your website, maybe on social media. Promote your website as much as possible. If you need traffic to come to your website, yeah, you need to promote your website. Don't always assume that when someone Googles your website, it will always be ranked here as the top one. Okay? When someone searches for something, don't think that your website will be the top ranked. Yeah. Yeah, if you need top ranking, then you can go for sponsored content like this one. See, this one is sponsored. That is why it is appearing at the very top. I search for WordPress, and this one is WordPress hosting. So, yeah, and this one has a cost. This one has a cost. It is not free. It is not free. It is not free. Yeah, so promote your website as much as possible. Share your website link on social media. You have Facebook, you have Twitter, you have Instagram. TikTok has become very, very popular currently. So promote your website as much as possible. if you want traffic. If you want traffic. Okay. So once all is said and done, you've launched your website. One thing that you also need to consider is ongoing maintenance and updates. Ongoing maintenance and updates. So remember, in these development fields, things are always evolving. Things are always evolving, and especially with your backend languages, things are always changing, things are always evolving. So you need to keep yourself abreast and updated with what is changing in the development world so that you can also apply the changes to your own solution. So regularly update content, refresh your content, keep it up to date, address any rising issues. For some reason, please don't ask me why. For some reason, issues always arise. Issues always arise. And trust you me, no matter how good you've built a solution, an issue will always arise. Always, always, always. I have no idea why. Because you will build something durable, something stable, but for some reason, an issue will always arise. So keep yourself updated. You can have a log of issues when they arise so that you're notified and can quickly sort them out. But ongoing maintenance and updates is also very, very important. And something also to consider is security-wise, especially for those of us who will be going into full stack development. Security is a very, very big issue. It's a very, very big issue. We all know about hackers. We all know they like to they like to destroy things. Yeah, they like to poke their noses into things that do not concern them. So yes, security is very, very important, especially if you're doing back-end development. Let me not mention especially. Security is very important for web development as a whole, because somebody can deface your website. Somebody can deface your website if your security is lax. Somebody can deface your website such that you had an e-commerce site in the morning, in the evening when you come, you find something totally different. So security is very, very important. It is very, very important. Security is very, very important. And always, 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 always keep a backup of your solution. That is both your code base and your database, if you will have one. Keep a backup, an up-to-date backup of your solution. That is why we advocate for the use of Git and GitHub, because you will always have an up-to-date copy of what you have been doing, so that if anything occurs, you can always restore. You can always restore what you had. Okay, so always keep a backup of your solution. Always keep a backup of your solution. So those are some of the steps that you would consider when you are planning to go live with your solution. when you're planning to go live with your solution. So I want to go to building a project because we've been doing that for the past 7 weeks. Let us look at some hosting and deployment options. We look at some hosting and deployment options, and we will be doing this practically, as always, so that you get to know and understand what goes into hosting and deployment. What goes into hosting and deployment. So web hosting is simply like renting space. It is simply like renting space. You need a place to store your website files and images, all your website content. You need to rent that space. Yeah, it is. Yes, we have free options. We have free options and we have paid options. We have paid options. So web hosting simply makes your website and web applications accessible on the public internet. Accessible on the public internet. Because you'll be developing on your local machine. You will be developing on your local machine, but the moment you want to make your solution available to others, you need to host it on the public internet. So we have various types of web hosting that you will come across in your development journey. One is shared. Number one is shared hosting. Number one is shared hosting. So number one, we have shared hosting. So with shared hosting, your website typically just shares a server. You're just given space within one server. So there'll be several of you. There'll be several of you. Consider it like living in an apartment. Living in an apartment. So an apartment usually has several houses separated by floors. Okay. So that is like shared hosting. You are renting a house, one house in a whole apartment complex. So that is what I can liken shared hosting to. So this one is very, very affordable. Very affordable. Very affordable is the biggest plus for this. But a major letdown for this one can be performance issues. Performance issues. Because if you are sharing so many of you one server, then you are limited in the number of resources. You're limited in the resources because remember, a server is just a representation of your computer. It is just basically a computer sitting somewhere, okay? So consider like what you have currently with you. What are the specs of your computer? Maybe you have 8 GB RAM and a size, hard disk size of maybe 512 GB. Okay. Can you imagine several people sharing those resources at the same time? Yeah. Can you imagine several people sharing those resources at the same time? Of course, you're going to experience performance issues. If for example, just right now, when you use your machine with some of these programs, sometimes your machine hangs. Isn't that true? Sometimes your machine hangs and you can't do anything until until maybe you open your task manager, close some processes. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine your machine being shared by 100 people at the same time? That is chaotic. That is chaotic. So shared hosting, of course, it is cheap, it is affordable, but you will experience some performance limitations. Number two, we have virtual private servers. Virtual private servers. So here you own a dedicated portion of a server. You own a dedicated portion of a server, dedicated in that those resources are configured specifically for you. They are configured specifically for you. So this one is another option. It is a bit more expensive. It is a bit more expensive, but the good thing is it will give you more control. It will give you more control over what you can choose, what you can configure. Okay. Yes, another limitation of the shared hosting is you only use what you are given. You have no control. You have no control. If I tell you you only have these limitations, those are the ones that will that will define your hosting. Okay, so you have no control here on shared hosting, but with the virtual private server, this is virtual private server. You have a bit more control on what you can use, how you can configure it, and so on and so forth. This one is a bit more expensive. Number three that you might come across is dedicated hosting. This one is very, very expensive. This is where you rent an entire server, or in quotes, an entire computer, like what you have. You're given that, and it is your own. You have more control. You can configure as many things as you want on the same server. It is very, very powerful, but quite expensive. Very powerful, very expensive. Very powerful, very expensive. Dedicated hosting. Dedicated hosting. And the most modern one, currently modern, and what people are mostly use is cloud hosting. Cloud hosting. So with cloud hosting, your solution is hosted across multiple servers, or in the cloud, in quotes. In quotes, because there's nothing like cloud. Yeah, so it is one of those fancy words that we use in in computing. Yeah. It is an actual server sitting somewhere. That is just the truth. So with cloud hosting, your solution is hosted across multiple servers. And this one has a major benefit because, especially for people with full stack applications or solutions, this one can be configured to scale automatically depending on need, such that if you are experiencing a spike in traffic on your solution, this will automatically add resources to your solution so that your users do not experience any downtime or any lag. Okay, so that is the benefit of cloud hosting. They have that automatic scaling feature that they can provide for you. Okay, so these are some of the hosting that you might come across. So you've seen your hosting options. You've seen your hosting options. Next would be deployment. Deployment. And what is deployment? Deployment is simply the process of moving your files from your local machine to your hosting provider. Okay? It is as simple as that. Just moving your files from your local machine to your hosting provider. That is deployment in a nutshell. So what does this process look like? What does this process look like? Deployment. So one, as always, you need to prepare your files. prepare your files. Prepare your files. You've already selected a hosting provider. You've already selected a hosting provider. Number 3 is uploading your files. So there are various ways that hosting providers will give you for uploading your files. The most easiest would be through GitHub or any other repository. This one is the most easiest. You just upload your files to your repository and your hosting provider picks those files from there and updates your website or web solution, okay? That one is the most easiest and fastest. Next is via a file server or a file service, or a file service. So there are other hosting providers that will give you a file management feature. They will give you a file management feature where you will log in. You will log in, select your files that you want to update, and upload them to that hosting provider via a file service. Via a file service. So these are the 2 major ways that I know of, GitHub and via a file service. Number 4, we have configuring your domain. Configuring your domain. Configuring your domain. So this is what we refer to as a domain. The domain name, this, the one that I'm highlighting. I don't know, we can't increase there. So that is what we are referring to as a domain, okay? This one. So to configure a domain, you need to look for and settle on a domain name service provider. A domain name service provider. So this is someone who will just register this name for you on the public internet so that it is readily available. Okay? A domain name service provider. So there are so many. Some are cheap, some are expensive. These ones best known to them. I've never understood the dynamics for pricing for this service, but yeah, some have extra services like securities, privacy, and so on and so forth. But there are various domain service providers. So you will register a name. First, they will find out the availability. Is that name available or it's already taken? And then they will offer you various, what are they called? What is it called in full? Why is it escaping my name? My head. It's called a TLD. TLD in full. Yes, it's called a TLD. Top level domain. So top level domain in this case is .org, .com, .cc, and such things. .co, your company, not your company, your country. So like Kenya, we have KE. If it is South Africa, you have SA. If it is Nigeria, you have NG. So those are the ones I'm referring to as top level domains. So they will give you options for your name across all these. If you have the money, you can register for all of them. You can register for all of them if you have the money. Of course, it will be very expensive. but then you ensure that nobody takes up your domain name for those top level domains. It's just a way of ensuring, because some people are very bad. Some people are very bad, because you will register like what we have, powerlandprojectafrica.org, and then somebody goes and registers a .com. Somebody goes and registers a .com and masquerades as you. Okay, so this is the real site, but somebody is masquerading as you and conning people on the internet that they are Powerland projects. So it is usually a good idea. Just register if you can. Just register across all top level domains so that you own everything. You own everything. Because I've seen some malicious people, they register using another top level domain, and they come, when you really want it, they will sell it to you, but at a very exorbitant prices. Very exorbitant prices. So if you can, register across various top level domains, if you can, that is. Okay. So I think now it will be a good time to do our deployment practically. We can do our deployment practically. Okay. Yes. So I have a site for you that we can use. I have a site for you that we can use. Something simple. You guys know me. I'm into very simple things. Yeah. So let me share this on the chat box. Yeah, so you can clone that repository. Can clone that repository. You can clone that repository on the chat box. So we have you can follow our steps. You can follow our steps. But our project is already ready. Our project is ready. Let me just open it. Where did I save it? I think it's here. So our project is ready. Mine is ready. I don't know about yours. Yeah, so I did a very, very simple site, but it clearly demonstrates like everything that we've gone through. You have your basic structure, you have your semantic HTML, you have CSS incorporated, you have images, you have animations and transitions. Okay, so basically everything that we've done so far, even JavaScript is incorporated. So this is a typical landing page. Navigation at the top. You have your call to action there. A background image. Different sections. So that will be the header, navigation. You have about us, services, our work, your testimonials, and a contact section. and finally your footer. Okay. Yeah. So very, very simple site. It's not even a lot of code. Just a few lines. Just a few lines of code. Not that much. Okay. So make sure your site is available. So if you've cloned that repository, I would need you to create a repo on GitHub. Just create a repo on GitHub and upload those files. Create a repository on GitHub and upload those files. Make sure your repository is public. Create a GitHub repo and upload those files. Make sure your repository is public. So we are starting off with GitHub pages. GitHub pages. With a show of thumbs up, just let me know when you're done. So clone the repository. First, you need to clone the repository. Then go back to GitHub, create a new repository, give it a name, make sure it is public. Make sure it is public, and then upload those files to that new repository. Yeah? Upload those files to that new repository. So show of thumbs up if you're done. Show of thumbs up if you're done. The repository link is on the chat box. I've shared it again. The repository link is on the chat box. So clone it or download it, and then go back to GitHub, create your own repo. GitHub, create your own repo, and then upload those files. So once you're done uploading, you will navigate to settings, navigate to settings on that repository, navigate to settings. you will see a menu on the side for pages. You see a menu on the side for pages. Click on that menu. Click on that menu. So this will open the GitHub Pages tab. So the description says GitHub Pages is designed to host your personal, organization, or project pages from a GitHub repository. From a GitHub repository. The second section is build and deployment. So by default, we are deploying from a branch. From default, we are deploying from a branch. Next, you will select your branch. If you have several, then select the correct one. This should be your main branch. Should be your main branch. Should be your main branch. And once you've done that, just click on save. Just click on saved. Once you're done that, click on save. So GitHub will build your site. GitHub should build your site. So if you had registered a custom domain, then this is where you would actually save it. You have see the option for custom domain. This is where you'd save that domain name if you had registered one. So this one usually takes a few seconds to a minute. We can, this will be the name of your domain. This one being displayed here should be your GitHub username .github.io. Oh, sorry. It is not yet done. Yeah, it is done. Just reload the page. Just reload the page. You should see your live URL. You should see your live URL. So it takes the form of your GitHub username .github.io and then the name of the repository. Yeah? And then the name of your repository. So let me see yours on the chat box. Let me see yours on the chat box. Just let me see yours on the chat box if you've been able to do so. Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. So I'll go through the steps once again. So I've shared the GitHub repository. First, I need you to clone the repository or download the files in the repository. So you can either download a zip or you can clone this repository. make it available on your local machine. Next, you'll go back to GitHub and create a new repository and upload those files. So there are two ways in which you can upload the files in a repository you've created. Yeah, and that should not be a bone of contention at this moment. Yeah, we are in week 8. You should know how to upload files to a repository. Yeah, I can see more people are posting what they have uploaded. Very nice, very nice. So after you've uploaded your files to your new repository, you will navigate to settings. You'll navigate to settings and then pages. On the list of menus on the side, that is the left sidebar, you'll see pages. Click on pages. Click on pages. Click on pages. And you will select deploy from branch if it is not yet selected, but that is the default. Okay. And then for on the branch section, just select main, and then click on save. Click on save. So creating your live site should take around just a minute or so. To get your site URL, just reload that page. And you should see your site URL displayed at the top. Repository, you can name your repository as you may wish. I've seen people are naming it digital agency, deployment, portfolio. That is up to you. That is up to you. Yeah, however you name your repository, that is up to you. So good stuff. If you've been able to, let us see a round of applause for us. Congratulations. Congratulations, everyone. Congratulations. Good stuff. That is the most easiest way you can deploy a static, keyword static website. Keyword static website. And this one is totally free. Totally free, okay? This one is totally free. But you'll have to live with that. You'll have to live with this domain. You'll have to live with this domain as it is displayed. So that is the disadvantage. You'll have to live with this domain. But as we've noted, you can use a custom domain. You can use a custom domain so that you replace this with something that is suitable to you, okay? So that was number one. That was number one. The most easiest. Using your GitHub account, you can use GitHub pages. No, you cannot do backend. You cannot do backend deployment here. GitHub pages is mostly for static websites. And also very good, Nolin, Masai. Yes, it only works for public repositories. If you select private, it will not display, okay? It will not display. It is used for only public repositories, okay? So that was option number one. Option number 2 and 3 are basically similar. So let us go to Netlify. Just look for Netlify. Look for Netlify. Search for netlify.com. Search for netlify.com. This is also another free hosting site. It has a free tier that you can use. So there's free forever. Build and deploy free forever. So you can deploy from AI, from JIT, or from an API. You can do custom domains with SSL. You have unlimited deploys, serverless function and storage, and you have a global CDN. But there's a disclaimer here. There's a disclaimer here. You have a 300 credit limit per month. So this one will always reset per month. Okay, this one will always reset per month. But as you can see, it is free. It is free forever. It is free forever. So it has limitations as well. It has limitations as well. So on netlify.com, click on login or sign up. The good thing is you can sign up with your Google account or your GitHub account. For simplicity, sign up with your GitHub account. It will make things much, much easier, as we are going to see, okay? So once you sign up with your GitHub account, you will need to authorize Netlify to use your GitHub account, okay? You need to authorize Netlify to use your GitHub account. So you're basically giving it access to your GitHub accounts and your repositories so that they are listed here, okay? So that they are listed here. So let us do that. Sign up with your GitHub account. I already did mine now a very long time ago. Let me see if I can create another GitHub account so that I can show you. We can go through it together. So let me sign up for a GitHub account, and then we can go through Netlify together. Okay. So if we go to netlify.com, sign up with GitHub. Already have another one here. Oh my Lord. Yeah. Already have another one here. So it seems I will not be going with you step by step. So, but the process is very simple. I don't think there'll be much you need to do. So when you select sign up with GitHub, that will connect your Netlify account to your GitHub account. Next, you will need to authorize Netlify. So when you're redirected to GitHub, asking you to authorize Netlify, please accept that. So that will let Netlify access your repos for deployment. It will let Netlify access your repos for deployment. So once you are here, just navigate to projects. On the Netlify dashboard, navigate to projects. I already have, these are two. I already have two. click on Add New Project. Click on Add New Project. Select Import an Existing Project. Import an existing project. Next, you will select Deploy your project with. So we are going to select GitHub. As you see, we have different options. Okay, this is also another repository solution. Bitbucket is also another repository solution. DevOps is another whole topic. So select GitHub, select GitHub. So you might get another prompt to authorize Netlify. So just accept, authorize it, authorize it, authorize it. So you'll need to search for your repo. What is my repo name? It is not being found. If your repositories are not found, you can configure Netlify on GitHub. Configure Netlify on GitHub. There's a button that will appear there. Click on it. So we'll continue. Configure. So on the page that loads, for authorizing Netlify, you will scroll to the very end to repository access. You will scroll to the very end to repository access. So you can either give access to all repositories or only a select repository. So I will select what we have for today, the capstone project. But you can configure all so that all your repositories are listed. It is still okay. And then save that. Save that. Save that. Once you do so, then your repositories should be listed. Your repositories should be listed. So we'll select our repository, select our repository. You will need to give your project a name. Good thing here is it checks if your name is available or not. So July 2025. Maybe I can add my name. I know most of you will go for July 2020, 2025 cohort. So this one is okay. So give your project a name. Under the build settings, just like GitHub pages, select the main branch as the branch to deploy. You do not need to select anything else at all. Okay, you do not need to select anything else at all. Now, for those ones of us who will be taking full stack development, where you have a backend, you will be taught about something called environment variables. Environment variables are basically your solutions, secret keys and passwords. Okay. So if you have environment variables, then you can configure them from here. You do not upload your env file on your GitHub repository. Never, ever do that. So your hosting provider will always provide you a section where you can save your environment variables, and you do not need to change your code. They will still be accessible with the code that you are using. So this is where you can add those environment variables. So your passwords, your client IDs, your client secrets, passwords to your database. Okay, those ones are added here. So for us, since ours is a very simple website, there's nothing else to change other than selecting branch to deploy, and then click on deploy. Click on deploy. It should navigate you to another page saying project deploy in progress. Oh, they've added the section for add database. I'm not so sure about that one. So project deploy in progress. Project deploy in progress. Once again, if you have a custom domain, you can go to domain management and add it from there. You can go to domain management and add it from there. So you should get a message, your project is deployed. Your project is deployed. You can have a look at the deploy summary. You can have a look at the deploy summary. Otherwise, you can go back to the project overview. This is your domain name. This is your domain name. Here at the top. So clicking on that should navigate you to your project. Clicking on that should navigate you to your project. Where's our background photo? Background photo is missing for our header, but it's still loading. It is still loading. Okay, so that is Netlify. That is Netlify. The steps are very simple and straightforward. Create an account on Netlify. Create an account on Netlify using your GitHub. Using your GitHub, that is the most easiest way because we'll be using our repositories. So you need to authorize Netlify to access your repositories. Once you've created an account, navigate to projects or the dashboard for Netlify. You will see a button for add new project. So we are going to import an existing project from our GitHub repository. 3, select deploy with GitHub. Select deploy with GitHub. It will check whether you have authorized Netlify to access your GitHub account. If you have not done so, it will ask you to authorize it. It will ask you to authorize it. So on the authorization page, you will scroll to the very bottom under repository access. So you can select all repositories or select specific repositories that Netlify can access. Once you're done, It will navigate you back to Netlify. Select the repository that you want to deploy. Select the repository that you want to deploy. And under the branch section, you select the main branch. That is the only thing we are changing for today. And then click on deploy. That should deploy your website. It should only take a few minutes. It should only take a few minutes. At most 2 minutes, just at most 2 minutes. And your live site should be ready. So your link will be displayed at the top. Your link should be displayed at the top once your site is ready. Once your site is ready. I'm seeing they added a new section for database. I haven't tested that out yet. It wasn't there before. That's why I'm a bit surprised. So the good thing about these deployment options and hosting options like GitHub Pages, Netlify, and also Vercel, we also have Render. Vercel also does the same, you just use the same steps like Netlify. I haven't done Render, but Render is specifically for, not specifically, but you can host your Python backend using Render. It will do a good job for with that. So there's also Render. Yeah, but our course module does not cover backend, unfortunately. So also render gives a free tier, gives also a free tier for hosting, same as Vercel. The process for Vercel is pretty much similar to Netlify. You just need to sign up for an account, authorize Vercel, select your repository, and deploy. That is as simple as it gets for static HTML, CSS, and JavaScript site. Of course, if you are hosting a backend application, the steps, you'll need more steps to follow. So who's been able to post via Vercel? Let me see your Vercel links. Let me see your Vercel links on the chat box. Kindly let me see your Vercel links on the chat box. Sorry, Netlify. Sorry, Netlify. Thank you, Philip, Samuel, Punit, Kevin, Akalu, Alfred, Mordecai, Samuel Mugiro. Thank you so much. Good stuff. Paul Ochieng, Penuel, Isaac, Gabriel, blessings. Good stuff. Good stuff. Solomon. Good stuff. Good stuff. Eh? Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think we are, yeah, our time is, yeah, we're at 12 p.m. We're at 12 p.m. I wanted to show you one more hosting. I don't know which, let me just log in. Let me just log into another hosting that I can show you. Okay. So this is another hosting that you might come across. This is a cPanel hosting. So this one is provided by a hosting provider. This one is specifically from Host Africa. Okay. Yeah. So typically it would look something like this. Yes, it might take you a while to learn all these things, but most important here would be the file manager. This would be the most important one, the file manager, where you upload your files, where you will upload your files. And typically files usually go to the public underscore HTML folder. This is where you'll upload your files. You can either upload using the inbuilt upload system. So you select your files or drag and drop them from there, or you can use an FTP client. You can use an FTP client such as FileZilla, connect to your FTP server, basically the username and password for your hosting, and then upload those files to that directory. Okay. So this one is paid for. This one is not free. This one is paid for. It is not free. And as you can see, I have so many options here. I can do email accounts. I can do databases. I can do several domains, domain management. I can see metrics, how many visitors I had on the site, were there any errors? I can basically monitor my site from here. SSH access, that one is a secure login to this particular server, okay? Via a console, okay? This is via console, SSH access. You can do several software. I can see WordPress. I can install other applications. I can set up Node.js if I have a Node.js backend. I can also select PHP versions, same as setting up a Python app. So these are some of the tools and features you get when you're doing a paid hosting provider. You have your advanced section, your preferences, and as you can see, I have so many options here. So many options. Different CMSs, Laravel, if you're familiar with PHP. I have a CMS here for real estate. BB was a blogging forum. Joomla is here, WordPress is here. So you have so much control with a paid version. You have so much control with a paid version when it comes to hosting. Yeah, so that is an example of a paid option when it comes to hosting. Yeah, so in a nutshell, that is what hosting and deployment is all about. I do not have an example for a dedicated server. I would have shown you, but I do not have one. Okay, I do not have one. So, but a dedicated server, they give you full control. Okay, they give you full control. So you are the one who will do the actual setup. You're the one who will do the actual setup. That one requires quite some knowledge with things like Apache for hosting your website. We have Nginx for hosting your website also. So you need some knowledge and understanding on how to configure those services. They give you more control, but you'll need to put in some work. You'll need to put in some work to host your website. Otherwise, and that brings me to the end of my presentation on hosting and deployment. I hope you got to learn something. Okay. I hope you got to learn something. So I will always reiterate for your assignment, please follow the instructions. Don't ask me if you can use another hosting website. Please follow the instructions as they are laid out on the assignment. Kindly. Okay? Just follow those instructions. Follow those instructions. Where is that? Week 8. Yeah. Week 7. Week 8. Yeah, here we are. So there are 3 parts. Yeah, there are 3 parts. So this is what you're supposed to use for your deployment for the assignment: GitHub Pages, Netlify, or Vercel. Okay? Don't use any other that is not on this list. Please. Please. Okay? Make sure your final website is multi-page, at least 3 pages, and at most 5 pages. At least 3 pages, at most 5 pages. And your README should be very descriptive. Your README should be very descriptive. Let me see what we have for ours. Very descriptive, as descriptive as mine. So do a project structure, list your features, guide someone on how to access your solution. Include that live demo link. Okay, so make it as descriptive as possible. Otherwise, I will stop there. Otherwise, I'll stop there and welcome your questions if you have any. So you know our ground rules, eh? Yes, you know our ground rules. Questions on the topic at hand. Eh? So Meseret Akalu, Raphael, Odinaka, John Samuel, Samson A. Said, Casper, Emeka, Philip, Nyamoya Collins, Moffat, Levis, Hassan.
Hello.
Yes, John.
Yeah, well done, sir. Well done for the lectures. Thank you very much for the knowledge you've been active so far. So my question is, you've been making mention of static website. So does that mean there are other hosting options for website that we use things like React or other frameworks for?
Okay, by static website, I meant a website that does not have a backend. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, it does not have a backend. You're not connecting to a database. You're not fetching details from the backend and displaying them on the front end. That is a static website. A static website can also be built with React or Vue. Okay. As long as it doesn't have a backend, we consider that a static website. Eh?
All right, thank you.
Next question, please.
All right. I just wanted to ask, like, for example, if deployed your website and over a period of time you wanted to update it to the latest version. How do you do that?
Yeah, so if you're using GitHub as your source of your website, then there's no further action that will be needed from you, okay? So you will just update your repository. The hosting provider will pick up those changes. As soon as they are triggered, the hosting provider will pick up those changes and update your website automatically. Okay, that is the beauty of using a storage repository such as GitHub. Eh? So you do not need to, once you've configured for once, you do not need to do any further action. So for your updates, just push your updates and changes to a repository. They will be taken up by the hosting provider and automatically updated. Eh? But for the other one that I showed, this one, this one does not have any automatic configurations. Eh? This one you have to upload your changes every time that you make them. Eh? The one that I showed, cPanel hosting, that one you have to upload your changes. Next question.
Okay, good morning, sir.
Morning.
Thank you very much for the class. I really appreciate it. I have some questions. Number one is, when is the deadline for the submission of this project that you're seeking now?
This one, a week should be more than adequate. Eh? I'm thinking a week or two should be more than adequate, but currently there's no deadline set on the assignment. But let's do a maximum of 2 weeks.
Okay, sir. Then, secondly, when you were teaching about the GitHub quizzes, okay, I actually followed the include as you said. Then, from my local machine, I tried to push it to the new GitHub repo that I created. It was not pushy because I couldn't add the GitHub repo. It was saying something about error remote origin already exists. I don't know if it was still seeing the other remote origin of the link you posted that I tried.
Yeah. Yes, so when you get that error, you need to check on the current remote repository that is active. Eh? in that session, in that command line session. Okay. So you need to confirm that you're actually using the correct one. So if it is not the correct one, you can always change it. Just change it, and then proceed with your JIT commands as usual.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
Next question, please.
Good morning, sir. Good morning.
Yes. Yes, Kevin.
Thank you for the session that you have given us. But I wanted to ask if this assignment you can do it using React, or you just have to basically use HTML and CSS without any framework.
No frameworks. No frameworks. No frameworks.
Okay, thank you.
No frameworks. Yes.
How are you?
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
Hello.
My question is, in the assignment, are we allowed to use content management systems?
No. We are only doing vanilla HTML, CSS, and JavaScript.
Okay, thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Yes. Good afternoon.
Yes. So you talked about cross multi browsers.
Uh-huh.
Yes, I have a problem. In fact, I've started this project, but now I'm getting the problem on what is being displayed on Mozilla is different on what is displayed on Chrome in terms of the colors. If I find that if I have like white white background and some white content written, but if I go to Chrome, I found that the color, the theme is in a dark mode, and again the contents are in black instead of white. I've checked the media queries and I'm getting problems.
Hey, cross browser usually presents in something else. Color. That one is.
Yeah, so I don't know. I tried to use that concept.
That one is strange. A cross browser usually presents in something else. But color.
Maybe the issue is maybe the Chrome is in dark mode and the other one is in light mode.
Not silly. So, okay. I would need to see your Nini. I need to see your code base. Is it in a repository?
Now it is in a repository. Let me check. I mean, I'm just navigating to where my repository is.
Yeah, so if it is in a repository, just share with me that on email so that I can check it out. But color, that one is very strange.
Yeah, even
compatibility usually presents on other things, not necessarily color. It is usually especially on JavaScript.
Yeah.
Yeah, but share your code base.
Even I have hosted it. That's why I got the problem now. If I was telling somebody to check for me whether it's good on the browser, so he used the Chrome and he's telling me your contents are very strange and they're not good.
Okay, so just share even your live site. Just share, and then I'll check it out and let you know.
Okay.
Next question.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
So,
Yes, Raphael.
Hello.
Yes, Raphael.
Okay, sir. Sorry, I actually wanted to say something. You know, when you posted that repository, I actually forked it first before cloning it. I don't know if that could be the reason why it was showing that problem, because I've even tried cloning directly from the repository that we posted and not from my own personal end, and it was still showing the same thing as well. It was still
What
showing that
problem?
same error. That error of origin already, remote origin already exists. When I try to add it to the new remote origin, the remote this thing that I created, the new repository, GitHub repository I created.
Yeah, so that issue arises when you're cloning. You need to re-add or check the remote origin that is being used. So if you clone, you remember you've already set set a remote origin. So any other GitHub or command after that will use the original origin that you pasted or you are using. So if you cloned, please make sure first, make sure the remote repository you are using is the correct one. If not, you'll need to remove that one and add it afresh, add the correct one.
Oh, okay. So the cloned file, the cloned repository, like the repository that you sent to us to clone, me forking it before cloning it doesn't affect the reason why it's giving that error.
So you forked it and used the new. You forked it and used the new URL that was generated.
Yes, I forked it, then used the new URL from that fork that I generated. Yes.
And I'm not sure why that one happened. And that is the only reason that it would happen if you are using the original URL, that the one that appears before forking. That is the only reason why it would tell you, to give you that error.
Oh, because I actually forked it before. So I'm not using the original URL that you sent. I'm using the one of before, so I don't know why it's giving the error actually.
Anyway, just confirm that the remote URL is correct first before trying to push. If it is not, then you can add the new one.
Okay, sir. All right. Thank you, sir.
Next question. Yes, Said.
Yeah, I was asking, what do you consider when choosing your host? Because actually, as you said, hosting a static website, it always slow and heavy. So what do you usually consider or choose? Or what do you usually consider when choosing your host? Because actually there are likes of Costingas. Actually, they offer something like speed, the storage. So I was asking, what do you consider when choosing your host?
Number one criteria is usually cost. Nobody wants to use a lot of money to host a website, okay? So number one criteria is usually cost. And number two is the features and services that your host provider are giving you, okay? So these features are things like the bandwidth, the storage space, okay? Bandwidth is very, very important. If somebody is giving you a shared hosting plan, they would most likely mention the bandwidth that they are giving. Bandwidth is like the space of channel, the space of the channel that they are giving you. If it is very minimal, then your site will be very slow. So usually go for bandwidth that is very, very large, especially if you have a website that is very media rich. You have so many images or you have many videos. You go for something that has a lot of bandwidth.
Okay.
Yes. So those are some of the things that you would consider, especially if it is shared hosting. Virtual private hosting, those ones you can select depending on your pocket. You can select the resources that would be ideal for your website or web solution. You can select those ones based on your pocket, same as dedicated.
Okay.
Cloud is best for virtual private server, dedicated, and cloud. Those ones are best for full stack applications. I wouldn't advocate for you to go for those ones for a static website because those ones are paid for. They tend to be quite expensive and they offer more control. Static websites, you can look for something cheaper like the free hosting, or you can go for shared hosting. Okay?
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Hello, sir.
Hello?
I have an issue.
Levis.
Yes, sir. So in the last hackathon, we did it was called an app, right? Now my question is, what is the difference between an app and a web? Because I thought whatever we did in the hackathon was a website. Yeah. According to my thinking, an app, it has to be Android app, an iOS app. But concerning what we had created in the last hackathon, it was called an app. So what is the difference between a website and an app? That's what I've not understood.
Okay. Thank you for your question. So yes, you can also have a web app. Just in full, it's a web application. So a web application has both the front and the back end. And the back end is at least connecting to a database. That is where it becomes a web application. Anything else would be a website or a static website at that, because it is not dynamic in nature. It is not fetching information from anywhere or translating information from the front end to somewhere else. So that is considered a website. But a web application or a web app, as in short, is something that at least has a backend and is connecting to a database.
Okay, thank you, sir. Now I have known the differences that I've understood now.
Thank you, Levis. Next question.
Hello.
Yes, Philip.
Based on the shared resources, I know you have used some of them. Which could you recommend? Pocket friendly. Pocket.
No, I currently, honestly, I currently don't have my choice of hosting provider usually falls down to the client's preference. So
Okay.
you'll get a client who prefers to be hosted with a hosting provider that is registered in another country. You can't force them to host elsewhere. But when the choice is yours, please go through the criteria. First of all, look at your pocket. How much are you willing to pay for shared hosting? How much are you willing to pay for shared hosting? And after you're looking at the cost, you look at the features that the provider is giving you. Do they offer support? What is the bandwidth that they will give you? How many email addresses will I get? What is the support like? What is the storage space? Am I getting very minimal storage space, or is there another better value for money? Okay, so you look at things like this. I've come to know and find out that most or a majority of these service providers, they do offer the same level of service. It is only that sometimes a hosting provider may be down for a bit of time, and even that small downtime will ruin their reputation. You know, people really speak on this public internet.
Yeah.
You go down for a few minutes and people attack you. They say the way your service is not very good. So yeah, so just consider all those other criteria when selecting a hosting provider. They are basically just the same. The major selling point is usually the price. Some are cheaper, some are more expensive.
You're not leaving a name.
I'm not giving a name.
Okay, thank you.
No. I don't want to give a name, and then you find problems and say, "Hey, this is the one guy who recommended me." So no, I will not give a name.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, next question.
Hello, good morning.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
Firstly, can you hear me, sir? This is Peter.
Yes. Yes, proceed. I think we've lost him. Any other question? Any other question, please?
If there's no any other question, I would like to thank you for this far. God bless you.
Thank you, Lewis. Thank you. Any other question? Franklin, Masharia, can see you're unmuted, but I can't hear you.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, Franklin. And then Collins. Yes, Franklin.
So, sir, I was asking if let's assume that you have created a Chrome extension basically that has a dashboard, and in the structure of that Chrome extension it has a backend and a front end. So where can I possibly host it?
You have gone far. Franklin.
Yes.
Yeah, you've gone above and beyond to Chrome extensions.
I was just eager. I'm just curious. So basically, it has a database and a backend.
I'm not sure about hosting Chrome extensions, but I would think that it will be a web application like any other. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
If it is a web application like any other, any hosting provider that gives you a database would work.
Yeah.
Yes. But if it is limited to Chrome,
basically, let's say,
if it is limited to Chrome, you can consider Firebase as a hosting option. I'm not sure. I haven't interacted so much with the extensions. Yeah.
What about Superbase as the database?
Yes, it will still work. It will still work.
Oh, so basically, I'll just go to one hosting provider, then the provider will just host for me everything.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Good morning,
Collins.
Eddie. Good morning, Eddie.
Morning.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about the cPanel. I got a subscription from the WordPress, and navigating through the cPanel is kind of tricky. I think maybe you can. I saw you are trying to expound, but it's a bit tricky on my side. So where can I get some material so I can bit learn on the cPanel?
Okay. I haven't come across tutorials, but for the cPanel, but most hosting providers usually provide a guide on the cPanel, how to navigate and use those different tools. But reach out. I'm sure I can help somewhere. I'm not that knowledgeable, but I can help someone.
Okay, I'll send you an email. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Any other question?
Hello.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I wanted to ask about hosting. Can you have hosting, let's say on one site hosting the front end and another hosting provider hosting the back end?
Yes, you can.
Now, how does that work?
You see, there's a separation of concerns. You have your front end residing individually, back end resides individually. So, for example, for your hackathon, your last hackathon, there's someone who did a React front end. They were hosting on Netlify, and Python backend that was being hosted on Render. Okay, so it is very, very possible. You just point your backend routes to the domain that will be created through on where you're hosting your backend. It is as simple as that. Yeah.
And do you think it is cheaper, or is it a hack, or there's no difference?
Not really. I don't think it is cheaper, or also I don't think it is a hack, because once again, managing two different services from two different places presents some bit of complexity and challenge. I'd rather have all my solutions hosted in one place. It will save me a lot of headache.
Okay, thank you.
Only that is my opinion. Somebody else might see the benefit of hosting it differently, but I honestly believe centralizing these things becomes much better.
Okay.
Management. Yes. Okay. Any question? Any other question? Thank you for your question. Any other question?
Good morning, sir.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm sorry for the break in transmission. I'm having kind of network issue here. Rain is kind of falling at my end. And so, like I was saying the first time, I was asking if I'm permitted to like say something based on the question asked by one of the participants.
Sorry?
Somebody raised an issue regarding him being unable to like push his work to the repo, saying something of remote. So I was asking if I can say something regarding that.
Sure.
All right. I think I've once encountered such issue, and that thing always occur when you try to your work, like push your work to a new repo. Let's say, for example, you firstly created a repo and you did git remote on that first repo you created, and it was successful. Now, if you create a new repo and try to push your work to that new repo, that error will flag. It will flag you an error, bringing up the remote issue of the stuff. So if I quite understood what the person is saying, so I think the best way out is for the person to do the git add remote on the new repo that he created. So if that is successful, then he can be able to push work to that particular repo. That is what I did on my own end, and that is
Okay. Thank you. Emeka.
eventually is what the guy is experiencing. All right. So that's by the way. Then my questions, sir, please, I want to ask the project. Can I add jQuery to it?
Sorry? No libraries.
The project, the assignment now.
No libraries. We are only doing vanilla HTML, CSS, and JS. No libraries, no frameworks.
All right. Noted.
Yes.
Okay. My next question. Let's say I have a portfolio of which there will be other link of various websites embedded in that portfolio as a website. So if I have a repo on GitHub now representing the portfolio, now the website that will be inside the portfolio as a website now, like the sub website that will be inside the portfolio. Am I creating a new repo for those websites, or like
If you want someone to review them on the public internet, yes,
Hello?
you need to do that.
So
Hello.
I have to.
If you want
those for those websites.
If you want them to be viewed on the public internet, then you have to do so. Otherwise, presenting your work on a portfolio website, you can either list a live website URL, or you can give the GitHub URL. But a live site would be best if you're doing a portfolio.
Sir, please, I didn't get you. There was a break in transmission. Can you please come again?
I'm saying if you are doing a portfolio website and you're showcasing your work, then you definitely need to also host the other sites that you're showcasing.
Okay. Noted. All right. Sir, my last question now. I'm asking this one based on, I'm assuming that you already have an experience regarding activities on this field. If currently you're working on something and apparently it's at the testing phase, is it okay for one to sort for sponsorship?
Yeah. You can even seek sponsorship from ideation. When you have an idea, you can seek sponsorship as early as
It's
that.
best for it to be completed before seeking. Hello?
I'm saying some sponsors might even consider a project from the idea stage. So I think any stage is a viable place to seek sponsorship. But also it will be best if you have something that is ready.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Yeah, I said it is currently on the testing phase now. So
It is fine.
Would it be right for me to seek for sponsor?
And I've answered any stage.
Okay for me to seek it for.
Any stage is a viable stage to seek. Any stage is a valid stage to seek for sponsorship. Some sponsors will even fund into a project.
All right, that's all for now. Thank you, sir.
The idea stage. Any other question? Let me. I don't want to lock anyone out.
So one more question. So basically, so let's assume that, for example, I have a web app whereby the landing page and the dashboard is being hosted in Basel, and the backend is being hosted in, let's say, Render or Ray. and then the database is being hosted in Superbase. Superbase is the one hosting the database. So concerning the domain name, how will I set the domain name so that when the user has just registered the site and is in the dashboard of the sites, the domain name is still the same.
Where is the dashboard hosted?
The dashboard is being hosted in Vazel.
And the dashboard and the front end are different.
Oh, okay. So I was saying basically the dashboard and the landing page are being hosted in Vazel, and the backend is being hosted, let's say, in Lena.
You see, there's nowhere your users will be interacting with the backend directly. Okay, so all your accessible links will be the ones for the front end. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. You only need to configure your routes to point to the backend when you are doing backend operations, registration, login, or any other user management or any other logic.
Yeah.
But everything that is on the front end will only be displayed on the front end. So that is the only link that you'll need to share with your users. They even don't need to know the link to your backend. That will be configured on your code base.
I get it now. I get it. So can I have your email, please? Because of if I get any other question, I can just.
Franklin, we are in week 8. Where have you been? Why don't you know my email address?
I've been attending the classes. I've never noted down your email address. I've never noted it. I've been attending the classes.
My email is eddie@powerlandprojectafrica.org. It's on the chat box.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
It's Abdullah Abdulghani from Nigeria.
Yes.
Thank you very much for the wonderful classes so far from week 1 to week 8. We really appreciate your efforts. Thank you very much once again, sir. I have 2 questions with respect to what we did today. You made mention of a top-level domain and the type of domain we have, domain name. So do we have any other type of domain apart from the top-level domain? That's my question 1.
Huh?
I think you made mention of code, a country code or something. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you.
Do you have any other type of domain name apart from top-level domain name?
TLD. No, TLD is just a category on its own. It's the one that appears after the domain name. You see, you have your domain name and then you have the dot. What appears after the dot? That is what we are referring to as the TLD. Okay?
Okay, sir. Okay,
yeah, so those ones are known as top-level domains. So it can either be the country, it can be .com, it can be .org, it can be .biz. Okay? So there are several options.
Okay, sir. Yes. My question 2. I understood web hosting as well as deployment, but I can't really figure out the difference between the 2, sir.
Between the 2?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so deployment is that process. The process of taking your solution from your local machine to
the hosting servers.
To the hosting servers. That is the deployment. Web hosting now is where the final resting place of your files or your solution, so that they can be delivered to the public internet.
So without hosting provider, you cannot deploy. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, you can. Yes, you cannot deploy.
Okay, hosting server serves as a host to your website after deployment, right? Hello.
Yes, yes.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank
So,
you.
sorry, you did not talk about API all this while.
Not within our scope.
Okay,
But
sir.
if you take full stack development, that one will be covered fully.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much for the wonderful classes so far.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, any other question before we are almost 3 hours. Hey, hello.
Oh, okay. I'm Calvin.
Yes, Calvin.
Thanks for the presentation. So I had a question.
Yes, please.
So I'm creating a web application for a driving school, and I wanted it to be like the PLP, like you have a LMS in it and the website and the admin part. So can you integrate all things in one web application, or you have to build everything separately?
You haven't phrased your question well, but I understand what you're saying. So, yes, you will build everything separately because, of course, admin, dashboard for clients, and the front end will all be different. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I'm asking. They will all be different. Yes.
Yeah, they will be different.
Yes, but you will host them in one place. What you will only change is subdomains. So you'll have the main domain for the landing site that is available for everyone. You'll have a client dashboard for the registered users to log into. That will be as another subdomain. And you'll have a subdomain for your admins. Okay, like what we have on the PLP. So if you visit the PLP website, if you've noted very well, let me just share my screen. So if you visit the PLP website, you see we have this as the main domain. We have this as the main domain, but you guys access the LMS from Academy. So this is known as a subdomain. You're using the main domain, but there's a section that is different. Okay? And for us, the instructors, this is what we usually have. You see us, we have admin.
Yeah.
Yes. So you would have those separate, they're just basically separate subdirectories in the same hosting provider. Okay? So that when somebody accesses admin, they are redirected to a separate directory. When you access academy, you are redirected to another directory. But they are all hosted in one same place. And you see the designs are totally different. Academy doesn't look like admin. Admin doesn't look like the main landing site. So that is why I said you will develop them, all of them separately. All of them have their own logic separate from each other.
Okay.
Yes. Any other question before we close it off? Okay, so there being no other questions, I would like to end the session there. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the amazing, amazing questions. I hope you got to learn something, and I'm really looking forward to seeing your multi-page websites once you are done with them. Otherwise, do have a lovely, lovely day. As always, it has been a pleasure. So, good day and bye, everyone.